This is the Mountain Man coming to you from the homestead here on The Good Fight. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you're here. Please go through and click the buttons and make the comments to keep the algorithm happy. Yeah, you know the thing. Today we're going to take a look at some headlines and some news. We're going to look at it, of course, from a biblical perspective to give us some practical ideas of how to get through these turbulent times. So thank you again for being here and continuing the good fight. So let's jump right into it with some news from the culture war. Apparently the wokesters out there would like you to quit using words like aloha and ola when you're speaking with people that are from a different culture than you. From my personal experience, it's always been a show of respect or a sign of respect to sort of try to use a little bit of someone else's language with you and the person you're speaking to, knowing that you're not doing it well, but you're recognizing that it's theirs and it's important to them. But now the woke powers that be would like you to quit doing this and building friendships and showing respect to people that are different than you, because there's a chance that you might hurt someone's feelings. I'm not sure when everyone got so doggone sensitive. And now we've got these limousine liberals going to their annual meeting in Davos to discuss climate policy for the entire world. Well, except for them, of course, because it's important that they all show up to tell us how bad we're treating the environment in their private jets. I think it was John Kerry said a few years ago that his lifestyle just doesn't allow for commercial flight. He needs a private jet for his lifestyle. This is typical lunacy and hypocrisy coming from the left. They want you and I to cram into public buses and go from place to place, and then when we finally get home, not have a gas stove that we could cook our food on or stay warm with, but they want to ride around in limousines and they want to take private jets, all the while pointing at us and looking down their noses at us, saying that we're doing such a horrible job for the environment. Typical hypocrisy. And then, to make matters worse, when you or one of your loved ones passes away, they want you to literally go get planted in a park somewhere so that your body can decompose to help make trees and grass greener in a park for people to go play in. This is just ridiculous. Shouldn't your legacy as a human being be more than, well, my body served a purpose and decomposed to make a tree that was pretty for someone to look at? We've got to set higher standards for ourselves, people. This is crazy. And then there's this guy. He should have been shunned by everyone. Don't get me wrong. Your resume is supposed to make you look as good as possible. It's supposed to highlight your accomplishments. But most importantly, it's supposed to be at least somewhat factual. This guy should have been sat in a corner, and as soon as it was possible, they should have gotten rid of him. I don't know what the process is, but there has to be some sort of constitutional process for someone who gets in office through nefarious means. So this is just to demonstrate that those creatures sit on both sides of the aisle. It doesn't matter if you're a red team or a blue team, a blood or a crip, or whatever side you're on. It's all just two sides of the same coin. And while we're on the topic of nefarious and underhanded and dishonesty, there's this story coming out. I mentioned the other day that you can't even drive your car down the road without having your license plate filmed, without your traffic habits being recorded, without the state, the quote-unquote powers that be, knowing and monitoring where you're going and what you're doing. And now they want to look at your face. They want to use this facial recognition technology to track people. It makes no sense. Why are we modeling anything that we do after places like China or Russia? It's absolute lunacy. I can't believe that anyone would think this is a good idea. You talk about a slippery slope. It's just ridiculous. Why would you trust the government to do something so invasive that's so erosive of our civil rights and our civil liberties? It doesn't make any sense to me. And now is this rare bit of truth-telling. That's right, they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're using Ukraine as a live demonstration for the new weapon systems that the military-industrial complex has created over the years. And this goes back a lot further than Ukraine. It goes back at least to Vietnam, and then it moves on to the Gulf War, and then you move into the debacle of Afghanistan that happened. You can't go in and perpetuate these never-ending wars that are essentially just, at this point, laundering operations to enrich the military-industrial complex And the politicians that perpetuate this kind of stuff, don't get me wrong, war is a horrible thing, and you should have peace through strength. So we need weapons, but when they go in and involve ourselves in conflicts that are not ours, then what is the logical end to it? What is the reasoning behind it? It's just to enrich themselves at the cost of you and I, the taxpayer. And while we're on the topic of debacles, these troops, most of them, I'm sure the vast majority have really noble means. They want to go in, they want to serve their country, they want to benefit themselves and their families. And then they were told to get this thing. You have to get it. It's mandated. You have to do it or you're going to have to leave. We're going to kick you out to the curb. We're going to kick you out on the street. You and your family move out of your house. Don't care. You're not going to be here anymore. And then it's ultimately reversed because, of course, such a mandate is not legal. It's not constitutional. Thankfully, it was reversed. But what's the thanks that these troops get? They get nothing. No back pay, no reinstatement. Pentagon is not currently pursuing that. Oh, it's ridiculous. The people that go out and literally put their life on the line, and you're going to treat them like this because of your illegal mandates. And with unlawful mandates being overturned and nothing being done about it, what is the DOJ doing? They're going out and they're still fighting for more illegal mandates. If you want to get the thing, get the thing. I don't care. I choose not to because it's this my body, my choice. It can work both ways there. So now the DOJ is going out and fighting for these mask mandates on transportation. Again, I don't care. If you want to wear the thing, wear the thing. That's your business. You can do it, but don't tell me that I have to. That is a total overreach and infringement on my civil liberties. So what's next? You deal with this hypocrisy. You deal with this lunacy from the left and the climate folks. You deal with the hypocrisy of the government, the infringement on your civil rights, the infringement on your liberties. And then you work your whole life. You finally have the American dream. You buy a home. You come on some hard times. And of course, you can't pay your property taxes. So for $2,300, they go in and they rob this woman of her home. She's fought off the IRS's mandates at literally at the barrel of their gun for her whole life. She goes in, she has some hard times. She can't pay property taxes, which she paid tax when she bought the house. She has to pay tax every year on the house. And then at $2,300, and they come in and kick her out of her home. They auction it off, and then they keep the proceeds. This is totally so far out of scale. So now we've got this coming up, basically staring us in the face. The economy is something that affects all of us. And the debt ceiling, essentially, if you're not familiar with it, that's like when you max out your credit card. You don't have any money, so you had to use your credit card. You've maxed it out, and now you can't borrow anymore. You can't borrow from your Visa card to pay your MasterCard because your Visa card is maxed out. So you can't pay your MasterCard, so you default on your MasterCard debt, and eventually you'll end up defaulting on your Visa debt if nothing changes. So essentially the United States is in a spot where we've run out of money. We don't have any more to spend. We can't borrow anymore. And both sides of this proverbial coin are arguing back and forth, trying to grandstand and score political points with no care for the constituency, for the public. It's ridiculous. So you have a lady in Minnesota, again, that's losing her house over $2,300. And these guys are back and forth arguing over, I want to do this for my side and do this for my side. But ultimately, they're just trying to grandstand and score political points while the economy hangs in the balance. So what could the debt ceiling mean and a default on our credit mean? Essentially, the United States would go bankrupt at that point. I've discussed before, the U.S. dollar has been the reserve currency of the world, the petrodollar, the U.S. dollar, and people all around the world have used it. So, for example, if you're in a country somewhere in Africa and you want to buy oil, you convert your money to U.S. dollars, then you buy your oil in U.S. dollars. The seller of the oil converts U.S. dollars back to whatever their currency is. And so the U.S. dollar has been the currency of choice and the reserve currency of the world for a long time. And that is the only thing that has enabled us to run up such massive debts. Other countries can't do that. They have to live within their means. But the United States has been, I guess, on one level, kind of fortunate that we've been able to to borrow and spend for so long. But now we're at a point where the house of cards is about to start tumbling down. So what do we do with this information? What do we do to help ourselves? What do we do to get prepared? So where do we begin? We have to begin by recognizing that there's a problem. That's been the whole point of this video and the last few videos that I've made. You have to recognize that a problem exists. You have to recognize the world around you. You have to see the chaos that is there. You have to see the hypocrisy that is there. You have to see the turbulent times that we're living through. And what do we do beyond that? We fall to our knees and we pray. We pray that we have strength. We pray that we have courage. We pray that we have the ability to see this through. We have to surround ourselves with like-minded people. We have to surround ourselves with Christian influences. We have to be able to look back at these challenges when it's all said and done and realize that we've finished the course, we've kept our faith, and we've fought the good fight.